or it's kind of like a oily material, a fatty material. So you have on the surface of the skin hard cells, and then between those hard cells you have a fatty material you can think of like grout. If we take our raisin bread analogy, we've always said that the body is composed of raisin bread, where cells are the raisins and the matrix is the bread. The hard fingernails on your stratum corneum, the rhino horn, horse hoof, deer antler-like cells would be like the raisins, and the fatty grout-like substance would be the bread. The hard cells, these rhinoceros horn, fingernail-like cells, sit in a fatty-like substance the way raisins sit in bread, in raisin bread. And that's the very surface of the skin, and it's about 1/10 as thick as a piece of paper. That's pretty darn thin. Now, underneath this hard layer, you have the remainder of the surface of the skin, the icing on our chocolate icing sprinkle analogy. The icing of the skin is called the epidermis. The epidermis sits under the stratum corneum. The stratum corneum is the sprinkles, and the epidermis is like the icing. So underneath the icing, you have underneath the sprinkles, I should say, you have the icing, and this is called the epidermis. And it's altogether maybe as thick as a piece of paper. So your epidermis is about as thick as a piece of paper. Your stratum corneum, the icing on top of the epidermis, is about as thick as maybe 1/10 of a piece of paper. You got your stratum corneum in your epidermis. And in addition to skin cells, the epidermis is the home of pigment cells. This is where pigmentation is largely occurring, in this middle portion underneath the hard layer. And you have immune cells, you've got pressure cells that are responsible for sensations of touch. All of this is occurring in this middle layer, the epidermis layer. And this is also where the cells of the stratum corneum are born. Cells are born in the epidermis. These hard cells are born in the epidermis, and they kind of rise up to the top. And at the very end of their life, they form this sprinkle layer, the stratum corneum layer. The epidermis, by the way, is where skin cancer appears. Basal cell skin cancer and squamous cell, the two main skin cancers, appear in the bottom layers of the epidermis. As the skin cells are rising, this is where they become most vulnerable to things that cause cells to go crazy and cause cancer, either the sun or biochemistry. So you got your epidermis and you got your stratum corneum. The epidermis is also where psoriasis shows up. It's where eczema shows up. It's where acne shows up. And activation of the immune system in this lower layer can be related to problems with the digestive system. The digestive connection to the skin is based in largely this epidermal layer. Epidermal immune cells are what account to a large degree for local reactions that you have to different kinds of products, itching, rashing, dermatitis, but not necessarily the internal reactions. The internal reactions happen a little bit lower. So the epidermis is made up of multi-layers itself. You've got your very, very tippy top, the stratum corneum, and then underneath you've got different distinct layers. All of these are considered part of the epidermis. The thing about the epidermis is there's no blood in the epidermis. It's blood-free. That means when you apply something to your skin, for the most part, it isn't going to get much past the skin. In order for something to get into the body, by topically applying it, it's got to get into the blood, and there's no blood in the stratum corneum, and there's no blood in the epidermis. All the blood is located deeper in the real active layers of the skin, and this is where all of the collagen and the connective tissue protein, all the stuff that we want to approach in our skincare products, are located in this very, very bottom layer, the chocolate bar part of the skin, what I'm calling the dermis. All right, we're coming back. Realized I forgot to tell Christina what to do about her PCOS. If you're dealing with hair on the face, facial hair, if your hair is thinning on the top of your head, if you have hair on the back, this is all if you're a woman, and you have facial hair, your hair is thinning on the top of your head, if you notice that you're gaining weight dramatically, if your skin is oily and you're breaking out, if you have problems with your periods, cramping, PMS, bloating, fibroids, fibrocystic breasts, all of these can be indicators of what we're calling PCOS, polycystic ovarian syndrome. Polycystic ovarian syndrome, like many skin issues, or like many biochemical problems, has a skin manifestation. One of the ways it shows up is as skin problems, but it's not per se a skin problem. It's not a skin issue. Your skin distress is a symptom of the biochemical breakdown that's based in insulin, estrogen, and maybe the male hormone testosterone. Polycystic ovarian syndrome begins, as the name implies, with cysts in the ovaries. These cysts are little pieces of ovarian tissue that grow or hypergrow in response to the hormone insulin. PCOS is a pre-diabetic condition. So Christina or anybody else dealing with hair on the face, thinning hair, in combination with problem periods, in combination with breakouts on the skin, you're more than likely dealing with pre-diabetes. More than likely you're dealing with blood sugar issues. These lead to cysts that grow in the ovaries. Cysts produce male hormone and female hormone. Thus, you end up problems with extreme manifestation of female symptoms, an extreme weight gain, for example, problems with your periods, and extreme manifestations of male hormone symptoms because ovarian tissue makes both male hormone and female hormone, and that's what PCOS is. It's a syndrome that manifests itself as extreme feminine hormone, some of the signs of extreme secretion of estrogen, feminine hormones, and extreme secretion of testosterone, male hormones. So the way you deal with PCOS, first and foremost, is you treat it as a blood sugar issue. Get on the blood sugar control diet. That means restricting processed foods, sugars, wheat, grain, cereals, flours, all the fruit juices, fruits, all the foods that spike your blood sugar and make your insulin go nuts. That's the most important thing to do if you're dealing with facial hair, thinning hair on the head if you're a woman, and cysts and PMS and all those signs of PCOS. Number one, deal with your insulin issues, your blood sugar issues, treat it as pre-diabetes, get off of the insulin-spiking foods and get yourself on the sweeties from Youngevity and chromium and vanadium and magnesium and the B-complex and arginine and taurine and omega-3 fatty acids and inositol and all of the wonderful nutrients that we talk about on this program for helping stabilize blood sugar. The second thing you're going to want to do is work with your estrogen, and the best way to do that is to get yourself on some progesterone cream. You may want to start using magnesium, which can help with estrogen. You may want to also start using the B-complex, which is very important for estrogen as well. And then third, and not most importantly, but not least importantly either, is the mineral zinc, which is very important for connecting up testosterone to super testosterone. Zinc is also important for sugar metabolism. This super testosterone, known as DHT, is responsible for a lot of the signs of hyper maleness, hair loss, or hair that's appearing on the face. 50 milligrams of zinc picolinate a day. So for PCOS, for hair that's appearing on your face, so supposedly getting worse by the day, as Christina says, and nothing in her diet has changed supposedly, spearmint isn't going to help you. But zinc will help you. Essential fatty acids will help you. A blood sugar controlled diet, eliminating processed foods and fruit juices and fruits and sweets and candies and cakes, as well as taking sugar metabolizing nutrients like chromium and vanadium and the B-complex and niacin and magnesium and taurine and all the other sugar controlling nutrients can indeed help you. Thank you so much for your letter, Christina. Appreciate it. Okay, so much I want to talk about with the skin. The take-home message, and we'll continue talking about the bottom layer of the skin on our next program. The bottom layer, the dermis, is really where most of the action is. The 90% of your skin is located in this bottom area. For now, the take-home message is the skin is made up of 3 layers. The surface layer is hard, dead cells that serve a protective function. These hard, dead cells sit in a matrix of fat. And the combination of hard cells and fat form what is known as the stratum corneum, which you can think of as sprinkles on top of icing, on top of a piece of chocolate. The sprinkles are the stratum corneum, which are the hard cells in this fatty layer. Underneath that, you have the epidermis, which itself is multi-layered. That is like the icing that sits on top of the chocolate bar. And under the sprinkles, this epidermal layer is the home of pigment cells. It's the home of immune cells, but there is no blood in this epidermal layer. In order to get to the blood, you've got to get to the chocolate. The 90% of our hypothetical candy bar, which in the skin is referred to as the dermis, this is where all the action in the skin really is, aside from the cells, that is, aside from the skin cells. All of the action, the blood supply, the collagen, the moisture factors, many of the moisture factors anyway, the spongy factors that keep our skin nice and bouncy and soft. If you look at your little kid's skin, if you look at a baby's skin, you'll see that it's got sort of a kind of a mushy, soft, bouncy texture. It's got a lot of body to it. If you look at an old person's skin, there isn't so much body to it. The difference between an old person's skin and a young person's skin, that kind of squishy body texture that the skin has, the difference is in the dermis. It's not in the icing. It's not in the sprinkles. It's in the chocolate bar. It's in the dermis. It's not not in the epidermis or the stratum corneum for the most part. A little bit of difference, but most of the difference between young, healthy, strong, thick, beautiful skin and a thinning, crepey, old person's skin is in this bottom layer that forms 90% of the skin. It's called the dermis. And here's the most important thing about the dermis, and we'll continue talking about this on our next Bright Side episode. The most important thing about the dermis is very few skincare products or skincare ingredients can work at the dermal level. The vast majority of the multi-millions of dollars that we spend on skincare products, the hundreds of millions of dollars that we spend on skincare products, the bulk of the ingredients that we're purchasing in these products work at the sprinkle level, the stratum corneum level, or maybe the icing level, the epidermal level. Very few skincare ingredients can work at the dermis, this chocolate bar level at the bottom, yet this is where we really want to be. Now, there are two wonderful ingredients that indeed have been scientifically shown in voluminous literature to work at this dermis level, at this bottom layer where all of the action is in terms of keeping your skin strong and vital and healthy, or the large majority anyway of the action is. And there's two ingredients that can address dermal health, chocolate bar health in our chocolate bar analogy. There's two ingredients. I'll tell you what those are on our next Bright Side episode as we continue talking about the stress response in the skin and pigmentation and serotonin, ways to get off of SSRIs. We'll continue doing that on our next Bright Side episode. Time to hit the phones. 855-660-4261. Let's go across the pond and say hi to Peter in the UK. Peter, what is up, my friend?
Hello, Ben. How are you?
Greetings. You're the guy I was communicating with this morning, correct?
That's correct, yes.
Mm-hmm. Peter wrote, for the listeners, Peter put together an awesome website. I'll let Peter tell you about it. I'm very, very thankful, Peter. Thank you so much. Why don't you tell the listeners about the website, and then if you have any questions, I'll be glad to help you out.
Okay, well, I've been a long-time listener, and I've been writing down descriptions for my own personal reference, and I thought your listeners could benefit from it as well, so I decided to make a website and put up all the descriptions. You
are the man, Peter. You're my hero. Tell the listeners what the website is.
It's benfuchsarchive.com. That's benfuchsarchive.com.
benfuchsarchive.com, and I checked it out this morning, and it's, Peter, awesome work. Are you in the computer business, or is it your hobby, or?
Yeah, I can make websites pretty easy, so yeah.
Very nice. Hang tight, Peter. Got to take a break. We'll finish up your call when we come back. I'm Pharmacist Ben. You're listening to The Bright Side. 855-660-4261 is our number. We're coming back at you right after this. All right, we're talking to Peter in the UK. Peter, are you there, my friend?
Yes, sir.
All right, so benfuchsarchive.com, correct?
That's right.
That's awesome. Thank you so much. I appreciate that, Peter. And did you have any questions? Can we help you out today?
Not really. I think I'll let you get to the other callers as your time is precious, Ben.
Peter, I appreciate this so much. Thank you very much. And
we'll stay in contact.
I appreciate that. Yeah, shoot me an email whenever you have questions or anything I can do to help. And thank you again for putting that together. benfuchsarchive.com. Good work, buddy. Thank you.
Thank you, Ben. Bye.
Okay, God bless, bro. Okay, moving on. Next phone call. John, help me out here. Where's my phone calls? Julia in Pennsylvania. What's going on?
Hi, Ben.
Hi, Julia.
I have a customer who's pregnant, and she has the group B strep.
Okay.
And she's concerned about how she can get her flora healthy again after dealing with that.
Probiotics, like they're going out of style. Did she take any, has she been on antibiotics at all?
They say they do, not recently, but they say they do that right when the baby's born and stuff.
Well, make sure she's loaded up with probiotics and fermented foods. Anything she can do, and this is true for all pregnant women, anything a pregnant woman can do to support her digestive health is going to help the baby's, the entire baby's development, but also the baby's digestive system too. And this is true not only when a woman is developing a baby in the womb, but when a woman is breastfeeding. Anything she can do to help protect her digestive wellness, including and especially probiotics, is going to help her breast milk and help her baby develop the development of the baby's digestive tract too. So first thing I would be doing is probiotics, and lots of them, as well as fermented foods. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Well, I'm still new to some of the products, so what's the best probiotic?
The Nightly Essence is a supreme. In fact, the Nightly Essence is not only the best probiotic that Youngevity has, it may be one of the best, at least, probiotic supplements that's out there. And in fact, it may be one of the best Youngevity products of the whole 400-plus product line that Youngevity has. The Nightly Essence may be, along with the Beyond Tangy Tangerine, in my opinion, opinion, the best product. So it's called Nightly Essence. It's a little bit pricey, but it's wonderful. And if she's pregnant and she's dealing with a strep infection, that might be something she wants to do. The neat thing about the Nightly Essence is it has digestive enzymes in there along with the probiotics. So it's kind of a nice, well-rounded digestive support supplement. Second thing that she wants to do is not put any foods into her system that suppress the immune system, and most especially that is processed food and sugar. Do you know 90%